Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. If you're new here, my name is Elena and I am the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos. Here on my channel, we talk about everything from homeschooling to homemaking, all the things in between, and a big splash of faith and fitness in there as well. Today, as you can see from the title, we're going to be doing a little bit of meal prepping. So let's jump in. As you can maybe see from behind me, my kitchen's a mess. It's kind of always got that lived-in look to it, but you know, it is definitely one of the places in our homes that is the most used. For me, it is Sunday, and we don't usually meal prep on Sundays. I know it's a popular day to do it, but I really try to take Sunday and rest and just kind of soak in the family time. But I wanted to get some stuff done because we got some stuff in our refrigerator that is already prepped and I don't want it to go bad. So the way that we meal prep, if you've not seen any of our other videos, I will pop one up for you in case you want to watch that after this one. Is I like to meal prep for my husband and I. My husband usually takes his lunch to work, and then I put them in the freezer. That way we don't feel like we have to eat them right away, and we can kind of stack our meals and not feel like we're having leftovers or the same thing every day. So we kind of rotate through the meals that are in the freezer and make our own freezer lunch meals. Now for my husband, he does not count his macros, but I do. I go back and forth. Sometimes I'm a little bit more meticulous with it, and other times I'm just aiming for something somewhat healthy. Right now I am on a little bit of a journey and trying to be a little bit more meticulous and consistent. Is that the right words for it? I don't know, but I'm paying a lot more attention to it is what I want to say. So I've got some new to us recipes that I want to try, and then some not so new recipes that I want to try. I don't want to give a rundown of what we're going to make because I'm not quite sure of everything that I'm going to get done, quite honestly. So let's take a look at my fridge. Let's see what I've got in there. It needs to be cleaned out, and then let's get to cooking. I do for sure know that I want to try a creamy white enchilada chicken recipe. I will link to the recipe down below, but again, if you've seen any of our other videos, you know that I kind of use recipes as guidelines. I don't always follow them exactly, which I mean can be good and bad. But anyways, I'm gonna make this, and so because it calls for chicken and I know I have chicken defrosted in the fridge, I'm gonna get that in the Instant Pot first so that that can get cooking. Okay, so to my Instant Pot, I have added in some chicken. This is not 2 pounds. This is probably like maybe a pound and a half, maybe. So I'm gonna put this in. Because it's fully defrosted, it won't take that long. So I'm gonna set it to 23 minutes and see how that goes. And the other thing I did was tie my hair up. It's not the cutest do, but it's up and it's out of the way. And when you have curls, you're trying to preserve them. Sometimes it gets a little crazy, but that's okay. We're at home. I'm gonna get out some mushrooms that I had in the fridge here, get those wiped down and chopped up while my chicken is going because this recipe calls for mushrooms. I love mushrooms, so I'll probably add in extra. And then it also calls for peppers, bell peppers. I don't think I have any more bell peppers. I might have like half of one. Here's where it's kind of like, we're just gonna make do with what we have. So I'm gonna grab those things out of the fridge. I'll probably check the fridge and see what else I have, and then I'll share with you what I have and what I don't want to go bad. Okay, let me show you what I found in here. I have some cooked quinoa and rice. Usually I do a half mixture of half quinoa, half brown rice when I cook it, and then I throw it in the rice cooker and just steam it all up together. So we have a little bit of that left in here, which is great. This is turkey meatloaf, and this has already been weighed out. I did the macros for it in MyFitnessPal already, so I know how much is in here. So we made individual, it's hard to open. We had this for dinner a couple of nights ago, and so I want to get this in the freezer so it doesn't go bad. But these are mini meatloafs essentially with ground turkey. The same time that I made those, I also made some meatballs, and these are also macroed and counted out, so that these are going to be separate meals as well, which is great because really honestly, this is how most of the time we're doing our meal prep. I can take 2 of these, put some of this rice that's already cooked and throw in a veg, and then that can be a meal by itself. But which is probably what we're gonna end up doing, but I just wanted to get an overhaul of everything. But that's how we use up our leftovers, and then when we put it in the freezer versus in the fridge, it isn't like we're having leftovers all the time. We're essentially making ourselves freezer meals, individual freezer meals to have. So we've got some of this to use up. This is just a little bit of white onion I found, so I'll chop that up and put it into something. This is purple onion or red onion. This is delicious. Just raw like that. So we like to put that in salads and stuff. I don't know if I'll cut this up, but if we need more onion, I have this one. This is a couple of mushrooms that were already wiped down. And then this is the rest of the mushrooms we had. So for sure I want to get these going before they start to not look good. I don't want to waste those. Some cilantro. This is how we keep it when I bring it home from the store. I put it in a jar, and then we put a little water in here, and then we put the bag over it. We've had this cilantro, it got pushed to the back, so there's a couple leaves that aren't looking so good, but for the majority, this is 2 bunches. It's been looking pretty good, and this has been in there, quite honestly, at least a week, probably a week and a half. It still smells delicious. We are one of those people that love cilantro. I know you either like love it or hate it, and we love it. I also had a little bit, I did have a little bit of bell pepper in there. So here's a little bit of orange bell pepper. And then I bought these peppers, sweet peppers. These are like really long. I bought them because, I don't know, they just look fun. So I think I can interchange these two because the white enchilada recipe calls for bell peppers. So I'm gonna use a mix of these. And then I also took out the Greek yogurt because I know when they make the roux, some of the creaminess comes from Greek yogurt. And so I just grabbed that out too while I was in the fridge. So I am just gonna go ahead and wipe down all of the mushrooms in here because even what we don't use, I don't think that they'll stay fresh in the fridge for much longer. So whatever I don't use, I can throw in the dehydrator so that it will stay. We can still have mushrooms another day if I reconstitute it. I like to put in the dehydrated mushrooms when we do like our own cream of mushroom recipe. So, but also you can just throw a handful of it into soups, or probably could even throw it in rice, have a nice mushroom rice too. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and wipe them all and then get to chopping. Another thing that I like to do when I'm doing meal prep and things like that is I take the trash can out I have it right next to me so that I can just have quick access to throw in what I need to throw away. I'm taking the seeds out of the tomatoes and then I'm putting them into our little NutriBullet container there on the side because I don't want to waste any part of the fruit or vegetable. And so what I end up doing with it later, not on screen, is blending it up, and we had a little bit of tomato sauce that was in the fridge and I just added it to that and used it for a soup later in the week. And then I'm going to start creating the roux or the sauce that's going to go in the white chicken enchiladas. I don't have chicken broth, so I'm going to use a little bit of better than bouillon and water instead, and I will just measure that out. So it's about maybe a teaspoon and a half, 8 grams. I'm going to put that in. And then I'm also going to put in 1.5 cups of water so that that will replace my broth. And stir, stir, stir to get these bumps out. Okay, so in all honesty, we took a break and had an early dinner today. And so now I'm like, I gotta get back in the kitchen and finish this because all I wanna do is sit down on the couch and relax and enjoy the rest of the day. So I'm gonna put these together really quickly and then do just that. So here's what I'm gonna do. It's a little bit different than what the recipe calls for, but I am going to. I'm gonna take the sauce that I made, and then here's the chicken. I went ahead and shredded it. It came out to 313 grams of cooked chicken. I'm gonna go ahead and add it into my sauce and mix it up. Now, he used more chicken than what we had, but I was talking to my husband and I let him know that. I told him it's okay, we'll just add more veggies in. And then also the original recipe they saute the veggies and then bake it all again. So even though we don't have the right amount of chicken, I went ahead and made the full amount of sauce, and then I just figured we could add extra veggies to it if we want to. And then I'm not going to bake it because the way that we warm up our food is usually in the Hot Logics. It's not sponsored, I just really love those little things. They kind of work like a hot plate, and it cooks in there again, and when it's warming it up. And so I just feel like that might be too many times cooking it, but I mean, you do you. However you want to do it. The way he warms up his food for the original recipe is in the microwave, so it's not cooking, I guess, or warming as long. But this is the way we're gonna do it. So I have my chicken and sauce mixed together, and then I'm gonna start separating this into our meal prep containers. I'm gonna take my scale out, and I'm gonna weigh, because I think this is too much to weigh it with the pan on my little scale. I'm gonna measure out the amounts we're using, and like that is how I'll get the total amount. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just put a couple of spoonfuls in our meal prep containers, and then I'm gonna add the veggies to it. So this serving is 287 grams. And then I can go ahead and measure the vegetables that I'm gonna put into mine. Okay, so what I have left is these meatballs. I was gonna meal prep them in containers with sides and a veggie, but actually I think I'm just gonna put them, they've been in the fridge. I'm gonna wrap it back up in the foil here, and I'm gonna put them in the freezer. And then that way, because they're already weighed out, the day that I wanna cook them, I can just take a couple of meatballs out, put it in one of our containers, and then, you know, pick a veggie or starch to go with it. Just because we already have, I looked in our freezer, and we still have 2 meal preps each for lunches, plus what I made us today. I think that's plenty for now. So I'm gonna just put these, pop these in the freezer, and then I know that I have these ready to roll whenever I want a quick macro counted meatball. So that's gonna go in the freezer just like that, but I am gonna divide these between me and my husband. These, like I said, I have these calculated on my Fitness Pal. For these though, I'm going to use the rice that we had so that doesn't go to waste. Okay, so in my freezer, actually, I found I have some broccoli rice already done, and it has a little bit of brown rice and quinoa mix into it. So I'm gonna give this to my husband because he doesn't count his macros, so he doesn't need to calculate out the percentage of broccoli to brown rice in here. I went ahead and just put the entire bag in there for him, and that'll be ready to roll. I'm gonna saran wrap it and get that in the freezer. And then for me, I know I have these 2. I'm going to weigh it out though. I'm gonna put a little bit of for my veggie, I have some cauliflower rice, so I'm gonna put that in. And then just because I have these already chopped up, I'm gonna sprinkle some of this on as well. So that is 20 grams of mushrooms. then I don't want to waste the rice, so it actually freezes really, really well. So I went ahead and measured it out. This is 210 grams, so I know if I half it, it'll be roughly about 105 grams. I could essentially just add half of this, some of these, and then a veggie of my choice the day that I want to eat these, and then that really is another meal prep done. It's just in larger quantities like this and versus being all together in a meal prep this way. So that's set too. All right, here's what we got done for this week. We have 2, 4, and then 6 lunches ready to roll. Like I said, this one can be portioned out for probably the following week, but we have 4 of the white chicken enchilada mix, and then I just did some beans with it. I will let you know what the macros for this portion is up on the screen in case you wanted to make it or you're just wondering what mine came out to. That's what it came out to there. And then, like I said, this can be portioned out another day. I can just half the rice or even quarter it and then put a couple of meatballs on there. For another time, you could throw teriyaki sauce on there, barbecue sauce on it. I mean, really, it's kind of limitless. You could do like a sweet and sour meatball if you wanted to and add some pineapple and more bell pepper to it. It's just nice to have seasoned bell peppers ready to roll. These are gonna go on my dehydrator. Next, I have some greens that I'm finishing up right now, but they're sliced and ready to go. This, we went ahead and I showed you, I put the sriracha barbecue sauce from Trader Joe's for my husband on it because when he goes to work, he won't have access to the sauce. I didn't put it on mine because I'm at home most of the time and I will have access to the sauce. So I didn't put it on mine, but I went ahead and put it on his so that he can get that flavor in there as well, because that sauce, if you've never tried it, it is so, so good. But that is it. Thank you so much for joining me and hanging out in the kitchen as I got some lunch ready for my husband and I for this week. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, would you please be sure to give it a thumbs up? That way I know what kind of content that you're looking for here. Thanks so much for watching. If you aren't already subscribed, maybe watch some of our other videos and consider subscribing. And if you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for hanging out with me and my family. We really, really appreciate you watching and subscribing and being a part of our little YouTube family. I hope you'll stick around and watch some of our other videos. Thanks again for watching.